From the very beginning, as soon as this story started gaining traction, all normal people knew that Duke volleyball player Rachel Richardson, who claimed that during a match with BYU, there was repeatedly racial slurs hurled at her throughout the entirety of the match, not just once, but over and over and over again for hours. We knew that she was lying, that this was not real, that this is a made-up story, just like we've seen from people who want to be victims over and over and over again, especially recently in sports. That didn't stop the mainstream media from running with the story. That didn't stop woke lunatics in the sports world from continuing to run with the story. But sure enough, a week and a half after the fact, we got confirmation of what we knew all along. BYU has not found any evidence that a fan yelled the N-word at the Duke volleyball player. And in fact, they apologized to the fan that got escorted out of the game and supposedly was going to be banned over this accusation. Because after interviewing people with Duke, with BYU, in the stands, on the court, everyone, nobody heard this. Video, audio evidence, no evidence that this ever happened because she is lying. One thing I certainly did not expect to see, however, was someone in the mainstream media, specifically with CNN, calling this out for what it is. Bad journalism, bad reporting. Take a look at this. CNN reporter calls out own network, mainstream media, for knee-jerk reaction to BYU racism story. For the most part, the media, after this came out, they've been pretty quiet. Some people ran, a story about it, but for the most part, no one really addressed it. No one sat there and apologized for being wrong, apologized for running fake news, apologized for calling fans racist, none of that. Because that fit their narrative. That's what they wanted to happen. So they were just hoping it would go away. Well, one CNN reporter, John Avlon, actually came out and did an entire segment on this. If you've been paying attention to what's going on at CNN, they are under new leadership. David Zaslav, who now owns Warner Brothers Discovery, the parent company for CNN, wants CNN to return to just doing news, like straight up news again and being trusted. I don't know if that's going to happen with all the people involved, but this should give some people at least a little bit of hope. Listen to this.
That's right. We're starting something a little different today. It's a new segment that updates the initial official version of the story once more facts come in. It's a form of journalistic accountability, and we're going to call it Upon Further Review. Now, volleyball is rarely the source of serious controversy, but it went straight to the front of the outrage Olympics 2 weeks ago when a Duke starter named Rachel Richardson made the explosive accusation that she and other black teammates were subjected to racist heckling while playing a game against Brigham Young University.
Now, for the next minute or so, he's going to recap all those things that happened, the things that we talked about, those accusations, them appearing, right? Her family coming on CNN, everybody getting this mainstream press, all these things that we saw happen. Well, now we know the update.
Now, for their part, but that's where the narrative started to fall far short of the initial indignation. Because when BYU released its findings, after reviewing all available video and audio recordings and reaching out to more than 50 folks who attended the game, including Duke personnel and athletes, they stated that they had not found any evidence to corroborate the allegation that fans engaged in racial heckling or uttered racial slurs at the event. And they lifted the ban on the fan with apologies. They also invited anyone with, quote, evidence contrary to our findings to come forward. Now, healthy skepticism is always a virtue. But this doesn't read like a cover-up. Instead, it feels like there was a rush to judgment because of a well-intentioned impulse to believe the Duke player's accusations. Now, we need to note that the investigation does not call Rachel Richardson a liar or a fabricator.
That's true. The investigation did not, because they're trying to, maintain some sort of political correctness. I will do that. I will call her a fucking liar. I will say that she made it up. She wanted attention. No one would know Rachel Richardson's name if this didn't happen. You look at the godmother we've gone over several times, who's running for office, who has a history of anti-white racism on social media. Rachel Richardson made it up. I'll say it again for the people in the back. Rachel Richardson is a liar, and she tried to use the media. She tried to use all these people based on racial divisions to try to back her up. She is the scum of the earth. That's what I'll say. He won't say it. I have no problem saying that.
Leaves open the possibility that she sincerely believed that she heard repeated racial heckling and that some sort of misunderstanding occurred. For its part, Duke issued a statement saying it was standing by its players, but notably, the Richardson family has not yet responded to CNN's request for comment.
Weird.
Look, systemic racism is real and corrosive to the soul of our country, but facts always have to come first. Listen to ESPN host Stephen A. Smith, who covered the controversy extensively.
Who is one of the people that gaslit this from the beginning, yeah.
Racism, prejudice still exists in this country. We all know it. We know how prevalent it is, and we know that it's something that completely needs to be eradicated. Having said that, we're not doing ourselves any favors if we bring it up and broach it when it doesn't exist. And that's the key that we need to focus on.
Now, yeah, it is nice that Stephen A. Smith kind of addressed this. He really should have gone harder. He really should have apologized because he brings up race all the time. He brings up racism all the fucking time. He is part of this problem with the woke mainstream media, with woke sports media. There's no doubt about that.
That's right. And that's why it was surprising to hear the head coach of the South Carolina women's basketball team, Dawn Staley, say that she was still okay with canceling her team's games against BYU, regardless of the results of the investigation. Staley says that she's standing by her decision because of her own personal research and commitment to the well-being of her team.
Yeah, maybe we should do a specific video, again, on Dawn Staley. Woke, social justice, activist, loser Dawn Staley. Maybe we will do that.
But when investigations turn up a very different fact pattern, it's incumbent upon everyone to acknowledge it and adjust. Fidelity to the facts is all that we as journalists and citizens should ask. It's understandable that there's a desire to believe people when they say they've been victimized. But the accusations have to be backed up by facts. And when the facts don't fit, upon further review, we need to set the record straight with as much intensity as the initial reports. Right?
Interesting. Never thought I would be watching this on CNN, but that's where we're at right now. CNN, a reporter, John Avlon, calling this out, calling it what it is. This was not true. It did not happen. And now everybody should come out and own it. All the mainstream media should come out and own it. We know they won't, but at least some people are mentioning it. But if you were real, if you were honest about this from the beginning, all the people that jumped on top of it, they jumped on top of it because it fit their narrative. All normal people could look at this and tell you right away, this is not reality. This didn't happen. She's a fucking liar. Because you know why? Because in a group of people like this, if there was one person that was screaming the N-word, that was yelling racial insults at like a 19, 20-year-old college girl, are you kidding me right now? They would be blasted. Likely, they'd get taken out. You know what I mean? They would get punched, they'd get jumped. Something would happen to them. Because that is not acceptable in society, regardless of what the mainstream media wants to push. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.